The US Bureau of Labor Statistics projects that the employment of data scientists will grow by 35% over the next 10 years in the United States. This is more than 10 times higher than the average projected growth rate for all occupations. Why does it then feel like nearly impossible to land a data science job today? And what can you do in order to increase your chances of landing one? Stick around until the end to hear the 3 things you need to know to make your job application process easier. After the data scientist job was declared the sexiest job of the 21st century in 2012, several big state universities and Ivy League schools started master's programs to cater to this need. You can now complete an in-person, online, full-time, part-time, and executive programs depending on your goals, your mathematics and coding background, and finances, of course. Yes, more and more companies are looking for data scientists, but there are now countless programs to train data scientists, so it is possible that the supply might have outpaced the demand. This situation has pretty severe side effects for job seekers. Literally hundreds of people apply for each job. When you apply on LinkedIn, you often see how many people have applied already, and you might be wondering if you should bother submitting your resume at all. Just to give you an idea, when I studied at university back in the early 2000s, there were no data science programs, and only a handful of computer science programs offered lectures on machine learning. As a result, the data scientists of my generation have transitioned from other fields, and we have very diverse backgrounds because it was very difficult to hire talented data scientists at the time. Many of us come from natural or life sciences or computer science. I am an ex-astrophysicist, for example. PhD students in the natural and life sciences can still pretty easily transition into data science if they have solid coding, critical thinking, and soft skills. If you have not used statistics or machine learning or worked with data much during your PhD, you might want to complete a couple of online courses, but other than that, the transition should be straightforward. If you want to know how I transitioned from astrophysics to data science and what advice I have for PhD students who are trying to break into the data science industry, leave a comment down below. Companies have become very selective, and they conduct several grueling rounds of interviews in order to narrow down the applicant pool. This is of course very stressful for the candidates. It seems to me, based on the discussions I have with my data science master students at Brown, that the interviews are getting more and more difficult over the years. One student told me, for example, that they were asked to code a superfactor machine from scratch using Python and NumPy in only 30 minutes at one of the big tech companies. That's a very high bar to set. Companies might be less inclined to offer high salaries and negotiate with the successful applicant at the end of the interview process because they can choose from a larger and unfortunately more desperate pool of applicants. Case in point, according to a recent LinkedIn report, the average data scientist salary declined by about 7% between 2020 and 2022. If you are a foreign national like me, you will experience another side effect related to work visas. The H-1B acceptance rate is 15% this year, which is the lowest it has been in recent years. International students get an OPT visa for a year after graduation and sometimes a 2-year STEM extension afterwards. During this time, they have 3 chances to win the H-1B lottery. However, the number of registrations increased so much that the acceptance rate is now really low. It's becoming more and more frequent that H-1B applicants are rejected 3 times in a row, which means that they need to depart the United States at the end of the 3-year OPT period. Imagine living, studying, and working in a country for almost a decade, only to have to uproot your whole life because of visa issues. It's heartbreaking. In spite of all these current difficulties, I do think it's very rewarding to work as a data scientist. The models you develop will improve businesses and people's lives, and it's very exciting to be the first one to uncover insights based on data. If the bleak overview of the current state of the data science job market didn't scare you away, here are 3 tips to improve your chances of landing a job. Often, job seekers use the Easy Apply on various job portals so they can cast a wide net and apply to a large number of jobs in a short period of time. This strategy might sound reasonable at first. The chances of getting a job are pretty low, but if you apply to a large number of jobs, one of them is bound to stick eventually, right? Wrong. Unfortunately, this strategy often fails because getting a job is not about playing the numbers game with some small but non-zero probabilities. If you submit the same resume to each job, the probability of success drops to practically 0. The reason is that companies nowadays use algorithms to score the large number of resumes they receive based on text similarity between the job ad and your resume. When you submit the same resume to each job, you basically guarantee that your score will always be low, and other people who took the time to tailor their resume to the job ad will get the interviews. Check out my previous video to learn about how you can tailor your resume to a job ad and what other strategies you can use to improve your chances of landing a job. You will need to pass several types of interviews: behavioral, coding, technical, and you might also get take-home assignments. You need to prepare for all of these. For example, compile a list of the most common behavioral questions and write down your answers in a text file. Make sure to tell an engaging story. That's very important. The goal is not to read from this text file or memorize your answers. The goal is that when the question comes up, you will have a story ready to go and you will not mumble during the interview. Similarly, practice coding interview questions appropriate for the role you are applying for. So SQL for data engineering and Python or R for data scientist roles. Make sure you are familiar working with container types, control flow, functions, object-oriented programming, and you are familiar with the most common machine learning algorithms. There are plenty of resources out there to help you prepare. Let me know in the comment section down below if you would like to learn more about the interview process. I am surprised by how many foreign nationals do not know that research organizations, universities, and nonprofits are exempt from the H-1B cap. These employers can submit H-1B applications anytime during the year without any concern for the H-1B lottery. The salary might be lower than what you can get at a company, however, you would not have to worry about H-1B sponsorship. If you found these tips useful, please share the video, explore more topics on my channel Data Science Cross-Validated, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates.